to be competitive against others, we definitely have to automate our processes and to be more efficient. And moreover, there are so big challenges nowadays like climate change, and I don't think that we can solve the huge issues with our way how we worked decades or 100 years ago. In engineering, automation is crucial, especially in our days today. It was more about outsourcing. It was more about increasing the manpower to get things done.
How do you make sure the customer is then successful implementing it?
To really make sure that the use case has an impact and the risk and the effort is not too high. Because if you want to have the first AI application or the first low-code Synera application in your company, it's important not to go for those huge projects with a lot of risk, a lot of impact, but more go for those topics that maybe not the biggest impact, but good ratio from impact to effort.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another podcast, a Synera podcast. Today we'll talk about identifying automation use cases in engineering. And I'm very honored to have Sebastian on the show today. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Talk to us a little bit about your background, Sebastian. Where are you coming from and why did you end up at Synera?
Yes, I have an engineering background. I studied mechanical engineering and then joined EDAG Engineering in engineering supplier for the automotive industry. And there I first worked as a CAD engineer for interior components. And already in this time, I was very interested in programming macros and small tools to make my life easier as a manual working CAD engineer. And later then I joined the innovation department of EDAG, where I was responsible for lightweight design and then later also for automation and digitalization, and did some innovation projects regarding AI. And there I first got in touch with Synera, and then I was responsible to implement Synera in our daily work at EDAG. And then I was so convinced that I quit my job at EDAG and got all in and joined Synera. And now I'm customer success manager at Synera, and there I'm responsible for the successful implementation of Synera for our customers. Like big accounts like Volkswagen or Miele. And there I'm helping our customers to be successful with our software.
Really cool. I think you're probably the best case study, and you actually quit your job at EDAG to be part of Synera, which is really, really cool. You talked a little bit about the scripting aspect, Sebastian, which I want to touch on, which is obviously scripting is cool. As engineers, we love to fiddle around with things and script things and code things. But obviously, there's a point in time when things become quite tedious, right? So we have to find a way to automate these tasks. So why do we need automation in the first place? And how do you even define automation, especially in engineering?
Yeah, so in engineering, automation is crucial, especially in our days today. I think in the past it was more about outsourcing. It was more about increasing the manpower to get things done. And the modern way to increase efficiency, to get more work done in a shorter time is by automation. And usually, you would need a software developer or someone with programming skills to automate tasks. And these skills are not so common, especially for engineers. Some know how to maybe program something in CATIA or something in tool specialized environments. But in the end, if it comes to real automation over different tools, you really need deep Python knowledge. And there is where Synera comes in. That with Synera, with the low-code approach, every engineer is now capable of automating their daily tasks and automate processes over different departments. And so we are enabling engineers to automate engineering processes, and that's very important today. I think especially for Germany or for Europe, because our engineers are rare on the market and are quite expensive, I would say. And to be competitive against others, we definitely have to automate our processes and to be more efficient. And moreover, there are so big challenges nowadays, like climate change and so on, and I don't think that we can solve those huge issues with our way how we worked decades or 100 years ago, with just manually yeah, trying to iterate. So we need power, we need automation, we need AI to yeah, get rid of our today's issues and problems.
Absolutely. Can you walk us through maybe some of the tasks, what an engineer would think about you? You maybe mentioned that you were a CAD engineer before.
Mm.
So I think this is one of the good examples. What other examples do you have in mind where automation actually makes sense?
Yeah, what we see, or especially I see as a sweet spot, is FE automation. Also from the perspective of a CAD engineer, because
Mhm.
if you look in the companies like OEMs, engineering suppliers, and so on, usually you have like 10 times more CAD engineers or double CAD engineers than simulation engineers. And so the simulation resources are very limited. And because you have a lot of manual tasks to do, and there is, and therefore the iterations that you can do are limited. So if you have a new design, someone has to simulate it and then has to interpretate, hey, how can I adapt now my part or my system? And if you want to iterate, there you are very limited because the time for the project also is limited, and usually you don't find an optimum because it would take too long to iterate like hundreds or thousands of times. And there I see a big value by automation, by just automating those loops or just automating this FE check of your CAD design. And
Yeah.
there we see a high return on invest and yeah, and shortening the time to market.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Sebastian, do you think some engineers are aware that you can actually automate all these tasks, or do you think they're maybe not even problem aware in the first place because they're stuck in their day-to-day work? It kind of became a habit. Do you feel we have to make them problem aware first and then show them the solution? Or
Yeah,
how does that?
exactly. And that's where I come in as a customer success manager. And with our today's topic, how to identify those automation potential, those automation use cases. And yeah, it's not very obvious for most of us. If you are working since 10, 20 years with the same CAD tool, just with some yeah, newer versions, but basically you're working all day the same way since decades. I think you're kind of blind. You don't think of how could we improve that. You don't think of how I get rid of my task. Maybe I like how I work today by clicking manually and designing manually. So that's why I come in, or innovation managers come in and help those engineers to see automation potential, to see possible use cases, and to yeah, open their mind for automation and point out where they have the pain and offer them pain relievers. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think this
yes,
is
we definitely we definitely need help to find those use cases and to solve those pains. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you said pain relievers or painkillers because most of the time, especially with AI solutions, it's more like a supplement. Like here, take it, and people just use it for the sake of using it. But how do you, when it comes to actually relieving pain, how do you assess what pains exist in the first place, and how do you want to solve those? So do you have kind of a checklist of
Mhm.
seeing how do I assess if an automation even makes sense in the first place?
Yeah, sure. I usually, so if it's depending on how much time my customer has, but usually I would do a 1.5 day discovery workshop to really open the mind, to really find the pains. And yeah, what I usually do there is for sure give some introduction about what we are doing, what Synera is doing, or what AI is capable to do, to first give them some ideas what others already achieved. But this is only a short time, because if you focus on too many details about examples, what AI can do, and so on, people will find hundreds of arguments why this won't work for them. So it's more in the first step, giving some examples that is in general possible to make use of AI, to make use of process automation. and then really focus on the pain and find the pain points of those engineers, of those people working in the companies. And for that, I usually have a list of questions that I ask them that we can later have a look on. And yeah, by these questions, I try to open the mind to yeah, get a new view on their daily work, and so they really see the potential that they have in their daily work.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm I'm wondering from an automation point of view, do you also think they not only want to solve the manual tasks, the tedious manual labor, but also like they ask themselves, what's in for me? Maybe they also want to
Yeah,
elevate their status inside of the company because they might be the pioneer who has first started with this automation thing. Do you think that's also a big aspect of like
yeah,
elevating
sure.
status?
Yeah, sure. So you have usually two motivations. One is the motivation from the company, and this motivation is clear. They want to, it's all about money, want to save
Mm-hmm.
money, want to increase return, all about money. And but on the other side, for the engineer, it's yeah, sure, it's also some kind a bit about money, but in the end, they want to enrich their daily work, or they want to yeah they want to get rid of pain, yeah, and this is these two motivations are not mostly complementary, but not always so. But if you talk to the engineers, you have to figure out how to combine those motivations, and but focus first on the motivation from the engineer, because if you just look at money and saving money for the company, the motivation not for every engineer is pretty strong. It's more about saving is solving their pain, and or that they can yeah be more valuable for the company. And for sure, this is usually then in combination with adding value to the company, but not always. So therefore, it's important to know that there are these two perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Don't give us the full blueprint, Sebastian, but maybe a couple of questions that you ask your prospect or like maybe a customer. Some
Yeah,
of your
it's
questions.
maybe let's do a role play.
Okay.
Yeah, let's imagine you're a CFD engineer, or
Mm-hmm.
which role would you like to
Let's
act?
take the FE example. Let's say FE
Okay,
example.
okay. So the most obvious question is um yeah, which work or which task is the most boring task in your daily work?
Probably, let's say if I'm an FE engineer, so I've been doing FE here for quite some time ago. Maybe scripting something that facilitates CAD work, for example, whether that's uploading task or changing the CAD manually, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to script that, parameterize
Yeah,
it somehow.
yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah, I think you know that there's a solution, but I don't have to that deep now in the solution. But maybe ask some more questions. So this would be already what a good idea. We would take this, um, pin it on the whiteboard, and then also questions that I like to ask is like, where does information get lost at software or departmental boundaries?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably, if I'm creating too many simulations, I'd probably just dump them somewhere. So
Hmm.
on my hard drive. So this is how information gets lost. I would guess.
Yeah, yeah, also a good one. Yeah, so maybe you need some solution on yeah, how to access those simulation data and manage it. Yeah. So and one question that is maybe not that obvious, but I think very important is so which activity would add value or save money, but is not carried out yet? It's a difficult one.
Mm, yeah, probably something like report generation I could think of. So, for
Hmm.
example, if you have different F, different simulations and you want to have different reports for different simulations, and depending on the output parameters that you're interested in, I think rather than just doing it manually and reading all the values in your program,
Hmm.
I think it would be really cool to have a report at the end showing it to my manager.
Hmm. And usually you wouldn't do that because it's too much manual effort, or you are limited on what you can do there.
Probably there's limited information, or I would
Hmm.
probably just come up with a script, a Python script that gets it to me, but then I'm not sure if it's stable enough. If something breaks, I have to
Hmm.
debug it somehow. Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, great. Good point. Yeah, reporting, super thing. I think also boring tasks. So um, yeah, and maybe asking in a direction of AI is where do you have a lot of data and maybe also in good quality available, or where could you generate a lot of high quality data?
That's a good one. That goes back to the hard drive question. I would probably find some data. We just have to see if it's good, of good quality, and that we can
Yeah.
use it for training purposes. So this is probably where you come in then and help me out to
Mm.
find the right data.
Yeah, exactly. And if you just imagine you're focused on simulating, I think, of a crash, maybe a small overlap crash in the automotive or some specific thing, I think you would have a big data pool. Like I don't think thinking of hundreds or thousands of simulations. So yeah, you see, there's where we then have to dig deeper. These are
Mhm.
just some examples for questions, and sometimes there are like these wow moments where then everyone in the workshop says, "Oh my God, yeah, I have the same issue. I've never thought about it, and it would add so much value, or that would save me 30% of my daily work." And this is what's what's make fun to work with the
Yeah.
customers, to really identify all those pains that where we already have solutions for.
Yeah, I think there was a good thing with the role play, by the way, because some of the things that might sound trivial in the podcast, but maybe once you ask that specific person,
Mm,
maybe they don't even know they have a problem because they have such a tunnel vision on their issue. They might not think there
yeah,
is something that could be automated. So maybe that's an issue that we can
exactly.
solve.
Yeah. And also, maybe
S-
if I add another question is also for the audience. So maybe in the comments somewhere, if you have able to comment it. So one thing that is also very nice is, so which task that you do regularly would you outsource to a student or to an intern? And
Mhm.
because you are able to explain every rule how to execute a task, and which tasks would you then yeah, outsource or give to a new colleague?
Mhm. I like this one because, as we know, a lot of companies have working students, and I think they work on a lot of tasks that could potentially be automated using low code. So I like that question. So I'm
Yeah,
curious to see what people write in the
yeah.
comments. I think that's going to be
I had
cool.
a colleague, his name was Marco, and I usually said Marco instead of macro because Marco had
Actually,
to do a lot of yeah, reporting and Excel filling stuff. Yeah, and yeah, but we had Marco,
yeah,
and so no need for macro.
yeah, I like that's a good wordplay. But I think this hits the nail on the head, Sebastian, because I think people just keep doing what they're doing. They don't even
Yeah,
question their own behavior because they've been doing it for so long, and they're thinking if I automate stuff, I have nothing else to do, which I don't think
yeah,
is the case, right?
exactly.
How do you then? How do you do then once you adopt maybe an automation solution? How do you even prove the added value in the first place? I mean, you show some use
Mm,
cases to them, some case studies, some success stories, but how do you convince them that there's a return on invest at the end
yeah,
of the
yeah,
day?
yeah. That would be then the second step. And in those workshops, or if I talk to engineers, then we usually come up with around 30 ideas, just based on these questions. And then it's important to filter, yeah, and to also prove that these ideas that they just, yeah, we talked about in a few seconds, that they are really valuable for the company and also valuable for the engineer. And there I
Mm,
have then a user an exploration card. In this exploration card, we have different categories. And the first category is the impact. And under the impact, there are then KPIs like the urgency. How urgent is this issue for you? And the
mm,
more urgent, yeah, the better. And then, for example, questions like how many iterations do you have? How often do you repeat this work? Also an indicator, the more often, for sure, the more valuable in the end, maybe. And also how much time do you need for an iteration, how many tools are involved, how many departments are involved, and then in the end the question, what is the business value? And this is then, if you answer the first questions like how many iterations do you do, how much time do you lose there, then you already
mm,
get an idea, and just a rough idea in which area this business value would be. Is it 10K? Is it 100K? Or is it over a million? Um, and then you get already the clear picture, or more clearer picture about how the impact could be. It's not exact; these are not exact numbers at this moment, but already an eye opener on how valuable this really could be. And
Yeah.
then on the other side, for sure, not only having a look on the impact, you also have to look on the effort to create a solution that you just ideated. And then
Right.
it's important to see the feasibility, to see how big would be the workflow, how much work is there. Is it just copy paste because everything is already there, or is it a lot of scripting, or more like the low code approach with copy paste? Yeah.
No, I see. Yeah.
And then in the end, you get
Okay.
a ratio out of it, like what is the impact on the one side and what is the effort to and the risk to implement this. And then you get a nice idea how important or how good this idea, this automation idea is.
Yeah. How do you ensure that once they believe in the idea, they adopt the automation bit or process
Mm.
automation inside of the organization? How do you make sure the customer is then successful implementing it?
Oh yeah, that's
How do you?
that's a good one. And there are so many mistakes. I think this could be a topic for another meeting. So yeah, the first thing is the use case. It's maybe what we're talking all about at the moment, to really make sure that the use case has an impact and the risk and the effort is not too high. Because if you want to have the first AI application or the first low code Synera
Mhm.
application in your company, it's important not to go for those huge projects with a lot of risk but a lot of impact, but more go for those topics that have maybe not the biggest impact, but a good ratio from impact to effort, and so that the risk of failure is not too high. Because imagine you want to implement AI in your company and you want to have this huge AI application, it will fail. And in the end, the conclusion is AI doesn't work for us, but it's
Mhm.
just because the use case was wrong. So use case in the first place is very important. And then also the user and the team, that they have the right skill set, that they have motivation, also very important.
Mhm.
Um, and another thing is that they have the right tools for sure, the right software, also the hardware like workstations, all the licenses they need, and then also the budget and the time. And these are 2 points, because you can have budget for the tools and budget for the project. But in the end, if you are full of work with your daily work still, and you can't use your budget, it's also something that I see regularly, that a team had a big budget, but in the end, they were not able to do it because they had too many other things, um, so many other projects to be done. And then also some boundary conditions like stakeholder
Mhm.
management, also important thing. So, and if you have all these aspects together, then you can ensure that your automation will be a success.
Perfect. So we talked about all the stages. So becoming problem aware, then seeing a use case, adopting the solution, and then making sure that the customer, hopefully or pretty sure, becomes successful
Hmm.
by putting in some security systems like processes.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
there
sure.
anything
Yeah.
else we missed in terms of the steps, Sebastian? Also, maybe in terms of upskilling, like
Hmm.
how does the upskilling work? Like, do you help the guys upskilling in terms of
Yeah,
how
yeah,
Sonera
sure.
works?
And what I just talked about are the all the factors that we have to ensure in the beginning
Yeah.
for the first use case, and then we also have for the upscaling, sure. And this is, for example, with our solution Synera Run. This is in web interface where a lot of people then can access the workflow, the automation that someone built in low code. We can have with that, and we also have with trainings, for example, or we also train a trainer, so that we call it a peer training then. So that we
Mhm.
train a trainer inside the company to train their colleagues, so that it's easier to scale. And then for sure we repeat all that we did in the first step, like finding new applications, onboarding users, and then having trainings and guidance in the first application from our side. Yeah.
Mhm. That's really, really cool. If someone is still not clear or convinced after this episode, if they maybe should hop on a call with you, what would you recommend them to do?
um, yeah, ask yourself if the future won't change. So and if you think the future won't change, yeah, maybe it's okay not to call me. But if you think, yeah, the future has some challenges for us, or maybe there will be some new tools on the market that could disrupt my work, then you definitely should have a call, and we should talk
Okay.
about potential yeah use cases on your side. And I don't force anyone to do something because in the end, if there's no value, if there's no pain, it doesn't make any sense to go further. But I'm pretty sure that I will find I'm the pain detective. I will definitely find some good use cases. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, what we'll make sure, Sebastian, is to put your LinkedIn link in the description so people can actually get in
Hmm.
touch with you, write a message on LinkedIn. Maybe they have an issue they want to get in touch with, and maybe some videos or some other assets how people can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
how this automation works in real life. I think that would be really, really cool.
Yeah. I can also
Really
share
good. That
some
was,
slides what I talked about all the questions,
yeah,
and yeah, I everyone can also execute those workshops and on their own, and would be an honor for me if I can help to find more digitalization and automation potential in other companies.
that would be really cool. Yeah. Maybe we should even have a webinar about this, Sebastian.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
talking about all this lists so people are aware what they can expect at least from the first
Hmm.
prospect call. I think that would be really nice. Awesome. So I think in this short podcast we covered quite a lot. I think it would be really nice to have a follow-up podcast with Daniel, who is on vacation now, but he'll be back. So we'll talk about FE automation in very much detail, so people can
Hmm.
actually understand how they can use this whole automation procedure inside of their organization. But for now at least, Sebastian, thank you very much for being on the show. Looking forward to maybe have a second episode in the near future.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and thanks for having me.